Hi everyone. So many people are just drifting through life without purpose. They're making decisions without even thinking about it. They're not planning for their future. And I'm just wondering, because this is a question I was this is something I was discussing with someone recently, and that is, how would it feel to live life differently? How would it feel to live life consciously and with intention? What does that look like? To many people, they're going to say, what does that even mean? So I'm going to tell you what it means really. This is how I feel that I try to live my life as much as possible. The first thing is making every decision with consideration, with thought and with wisdom. So this includes purchases. So even now, I think I've got really good, because years ago I used to be on Amazon, and my Amazon basket would have £127 worth of items in there. And this is not just once, this is like most months I'd be spending £50 to £100 in Amazon without thinking. It's just, oh, that's in my basket, that's in my basket. Now I'm very conscious of like my Amazon basket. In fact, I haven't ordered from Amazon for a good month maybe, and every time I put something in the basket, I'll leave it overnight, I'll come back, and by the next morning usually I've taken everything out of it, or I've said that can wait, save till later, save till later. So there's that. But also it's in terms of your habits. You're living consciously because you're making choices that you know are best for you. You're making choices about your relationships that you have with other people. So you're taking your time before you say certain things. You're taking your time before you get caught up in drama and caught up in conversations that normally would have, led to an argument. So living, that's the first thing, is to just consider every decision you're making, to be more thoughtful and be more wise with your purchases, with your relationships, with your habits and other things. The second thing is only doing what you really want to do. Now, this might sound simple, but for many people, this is really difficult. People are saying yes to everything and then they're regretting it. So if you take a step back first, that's what living with intention means. It means that you only say yes to things that you know that you want to do. I'm quite good with this, because even though I'll say yes sometimes to taking on new clients, I'll say yes to certain work-wise, I'm probably more likely to say yes to business, because I know that there's a long-term outcome for that. But when it comes to my personal life, if I know that I'm not free or I'm not available, for example, I'd no longer say yes to things, or I'll try and fit someone in, but I'll do that so that's the intentional bit and the conscious thing. I will still make time for someone because they're important to me and they're valuable, but I won't kind of do that at the detriment of other things. So you have to kind of just be really not savage, that's the wrong word. You have to be really cutthroat with it a little bit, because you have to just say to yourself, you've only got one life to live and you've only got 24 hours in a day. So you need to make those hours count. You need to make that life count. So only say yes to things that you really want to do. There's no space to have regrets because you said yes, and then you regret it later. The third thing is being emotionally intelligent and self-aware. This could be a whole video in itself. I've actually made quite a few videos about emotional intelligence. Being self-aware and emotionally intelligent means that you're always in touch and in tune with how you feel. So someone can't trigger you. If you become an emotionally aware person and you also become self-aware, you know yourself. So someone can't push your buttons, someone can't pull you a certain way. People will try and do that regardless. But if you know yourself, then it's not going to work. So that person's going to have to try lots of different things, and nothing's going to work because you know yourself well enough to know what they're doing. The other point with the emotional intelligence is you respond to people in a different way. You're empathic towards people, but you're also not a people pleaser. So I'll make another video about that, but there's that. The other thing is living consciously and with intention means you don't regret things. So that's linked to what I've just said. You only say yes to things that you really want and you don't have regrets. It's about putting yourself first. It's about saying to yourself, you are the priority. We live in a society where people constantly say you're selfish, and that word is overused in the same way as narcissist sometimes is misused in a certain way. When people keep doing these videos where they say, let's normalize this and let's normalize that. Well, you need to decide what putting yourself first means. It doesn't mean you're selfish if you decide to go on a short break by yourself. It doesn't mean you're selfish if you decide you want a week where you don't speak to anyone because you need that space for yourself. You know, do what's right for you, but I think living with intention means that you recognize you're an individual being aside from all the other people around you. You can still be a parent and sometimes put yourself first because you need to be the best parent that you can be for your children. You can still be in a relationship and go off and do something on your own. It doesn't mean you're neglecting your relationship. It means that's what you need for you. So the final thing really is to communicate effectively and without fear. There's too many people that are living with fear instead of living with intention. Living without fear means you say what you need to say. It doesn't mean you have brutal honesty. It doesn't mean that you are reckless with your words or that you don't care about what anyone else thinks, but it does mean that you stop holding yourself back, you stop limiting yourself, and you communicate what you need, what you want, how you feel. You know, and this is part of the work I do as a counsellor, you know, not just with couples but with individuals. It's about saying what you know, not expecting anyone to know what you're thinking or feeling because you haven't said it. And it's also about not being scared to say things in case of you don't know what what you're saying is going to be received, but you say it anyway. That's about living consciously. That's about saying, this is what I'm feeling, so this is what I'm going to share. Timing is crucial with it as well, but at the same time, you know, you need to own it. You need to own what you communicate or what you've kept back. So that's kind of a short version. I'm probably going to do a live stream to talk about this in more detail, but I'd love to hear your thoughts and love to know what you think. Thanks for watching.